The Last Full Measure, the story of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, a towering figure in American history, rose from the deepest poverty of the frontier to the nation's highest office during its most perilous hour. More than just a president, he was the nation's conscience and its anchor in the storm, a self-taught lawyer and brilliant orator whose words and actions not only saved the Union but redefined its soul. His legacy is not merely one of victory in war, but of a profound and enduring moral transformation that gave the United States a new birth of freedom. Lincoln's early life was one of hardship and labor. Born in a one-room log cabin in Kentucky in 1809, he grew up on the raw edge of the American frontier in Indiana and Illinois. With less than a year of formal schooling, he was almost entirely self-educated, devouring every book he could find by the light of the fireplace. This relentless pursuit of knowledge sharpened the powerful intellect and rustic wit that would become his hallmarks. After working as a flat boatman, store clerk, and postmaster, the lanky rail splitter found his calling in the study of law, becoming a respected and successful attorney in Springfield, Illinois. His political career began in the Illinois state legislature, but it was his opposition to the expansion of slavery that propelled him onto the national stage. In 1858, his campaign for the U.S. Senate against the powerful Stephen A. Douglas led to the famed Lincoln-Douglas debates. Though he lost the election, his performance was a triumph. In a series of brilliant arguments, he articulated the moral bankruptcy of slavery and famously declared, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." He established himself as the leading voice of the new Republican Party and a formidable opponent of slavery's extension into the Western territories. The President and the Preservation of the Union. In 1860, Lincoln's clear-eyed stance on slavery won him the presidency. His election was the final catalyst for a nation that had been fracturing for decades. Before he could even take office, 7 southern states seceded, with 4 more soon to follow, forming the Confederacy and plunging the country into the Civil War. From the outset, Lincoln's primary and unwavering accomplishment was his leadership in preserving the Union. As a war president, he demonstrated a strength and resolve few knew he possessed. He navigated immense political pressure, cabinet rivalries, and a series of ineffective generals. He took an active role as commander-in-chief, studying military strategy, and patiently searching for a general who would fight. His ultimate selections of Ulysses S. Grant and William T. Sherman proved decisive in securing the Union victory. His steadfast leadership through the war's darkest days, from the defeat at Bull Run to the staggering losses at Antietam and Fredericksburg, prevented the permanent dissolution of the United States. The great emancipator and the voice of a nation. Initially, the war was fought solely to preserve the Union. However, Lincoln's personal convictions and the strategic realities of the conflict led him to his most monumental achievement, the destruction of slavery. On January 1st, 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation. While it did not free all enslaved people at once, it was a brilliant masterstroke. It transformed the character of the war into a moral crusade for freedom, authorized the enlistment of black soldiers into the Union Army, a critical addition of manpower, and crippled the Confederacy's international prospects. Later that year, at the dedication of the Soldiers' Cemetery at a battlefield still scarred by conflict, Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address. In just 272 words, he articulated the very meaning of the sacrifice. He framed the brutal war not just as a struggle for a nation, but as a test of the principle that a government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. It remains one of the most powerful and eloquent speeches in human history. Recognizing that the proclamation was a wartime measure that could be reversed, Lincoln then put the full weight of his political skill behind passing a constitutional amendment to abolish slavery forever. Through tireless persuasion, political maneuvering, and appeals to principle, he ensured the House of Representatives passed the 13th Amendment in January 1865, permanently eradicating the institution of slavery from American soil. a vision for the future. Even as the war raged, Lincoln was planning for a peaceful future. He oversaw transformative legislation that would shape the nation for a century to come, including the Homestead Act, which opened up the West to settlement, the Morrill Land Grant Act, which established colleges and universities across the country, and the Pacific Railway Acts, which laid the groundwork for the Transcontinental Railroad that would bind the nation together. In his second inaugural address, delivered just a month before the war's end, Lincoln laid out his vision for a merciful and just Reconstruction. With the Union's victory assured, he sought to heal the nation's wounds with malice toward none, with charity for all. He called for a peace without retribution, a compassionate reunion of a broken people. Tragically, he would not live to oversee that peace. Just days after Robert E. Lee's surrender, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Yet his accomplishments endure in the fabric of the nation he saved: a unified country, a government dedicated to the people, and the foundational promise of freedom for all.